Hello ladies and gentlemen, Scaretofo here, and welcome back to another Model World Update video. In this video we'll be going ahead and covering everything that's new in Model World Update 1.1, and there will be a download available for this world down in the video description, so if you are wanting to download this version of the world, then that will be made available to you guys. We have a lot of stuff that's been added into the world, a lot of vehicles and all that. Not really that many overall world changes, just, again, some tidying up of various, builds and stuff like that just kind of been laying around. So a little bit of cleaning up, not a whole lot. Definitely want to try to prioritize that in the next few updates, getting everything sorted out a little bit better with vehicles that still need plots to go into. But with that all the way, we'll go ahead and just kind of jump straight into our vehicle sections. And again, you can pay attention to the video description. There'll be timestamps where you can jump ahead to certain categories like World War One / World War II builds and modern Cold War builds and stuff like that. So you can jump ahead to those sections there, and feel free to take a look at those sections as needed. Anyway, so let's go ahead and jump into our model world. So the first brand new thing is going to be Star Wars. Now, Star Wars is going to be making a comeback in our model world and just in our tutorials in general on the channel. I don't know where exactly I'm going to end up putting the Star Wars vehicles just yet, but it is something I'm kind of working on and trying to work with and see if I can figure out how I want to place it. Maybe in the next update video we'll have kind of a more which one I'm looking for, kind of a more better idea of where these are going to be placed and how they're going to be organized and all that stuff, because I do want to get them going in their own plot sections and all that stuff. But we only have one Star Wars build for right now, so I'm not kind of worried about it too much, but this is the TIE Fighter, and this is out as a video on the channel if you are interested. Moving into our World War I and World War II section, our first build we have here is going to be for Germany, and this is going to be a kind of rebuild of the Sturmgeschütz 4. There was a design for this previously on the world. As you can see, this is kind of in our mid section of our Germany line. But this year was just kind of a redesign. I made a few little edits to it, and not a whole lot, but just enough to kind of change up the look of the build and all that stuff. But there is a kind of a new design for it, and it is out on the channel as a video, so you can look forward to that if you are interested in this cool tank destroyer. The last and final nation to see anything in terms of new vehicles to their line for World War I and World War II is going to be the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom had the addition of the Puckle gun, which is not really World War I or World War II, but I don't know where else to put this. This is a very old 1800s kind of revolver flintlock type cannon type thing. So very interesting little thing there, but kind of a cool little build, I guess you can say. Then we have the Bren carrier, which I have not done a tutorial on yet, but I used this Bren carrier because I needed to make the base for our next vehicle, which is also going to be the basically a modified Bren carrier. This is the Praying Mantis. It is out as a tutorial. It was a experimental tank that would basically design to elevate and help shoot down in positions. So kind of a weird design, some funky vehicles there for our British lineup, but that right there is it for the British, and we'll be going ahead and moving on over to our Cold War Modern Warfare vehicles. Moving into our Cold War / Modern Warfare section, we have a couple new builds also added in to our United States section. This year, the first build is going to be the MBT-70 redesign. Really nice redesign for this build, came out really good, and is just overall really cool, interesting Cold War tank. So again, available on the channel as a tutorial. Our next vehicle here is kind of an interesting one. This is kind of an airborne designed, really light self-propelled howitzer. Again, designed for airborne operations and drops. This here, again, is available on the channel as a tutorial, and that is it for our United States section. Let's move on to our Russian / Soviet. And moving into our Russian / Soviet section, we only have one build added in, and this is going to be a kind of a little bit of a remodel for the T-62A main battle tank. Again, just a few little minor upgrades on it and all that stuff. This was present on the world previously, but just did see some little bit of updating and stuff like that to get ready to post as a tutorial. Yeah, this build here, again, is another vehicle that is out on the channel as a tutorial. Moving on back to a country we don't see too much of in our ground vehicle section, we actually have China, and this here is the Type 95 self-propelled anti-aircraft vehicle. Pretty cool design for it, and a cool vehicle to add to our small kind of fleet of ground vehicles for the Chinese military. This year, again, our first ever self-propelled anti-aircraft weapon as well, so a cool vehicle to add into that. Always like doing these self-propelled anti-aircraft vehicles as they're usually pretty cool. But again, available as a tutorial on the channel, and definitely feel free to check it out. That is going to sum up everything we have for our ground vehicles, and we're going to go ahead and now take a look at our aircraft. Of course, starting for World War I and World War II section. First aircraft we have here is a PV-1 Ventura for the United States Navy. Pretty cool looking aircraft here. Should be a fun one to finally get up on the channel as a tutorial. But really cool, done up in the tricolor scheme of the United States Navy. And just kind of a cool patrol aircraft, really. But yeah, interesting aircraft, and let's go ahead and continue on with our American line. The next build here has been the long-awaited F6F Hellcat. Basically, first ever time doing it on the channel as a tutorial, which is kind of shocking considering it's such a well-known aircraft. But yeah, it's finally out as a tutorial on the channel, and really love it. Again, done up in that tricolor naval scheme from World War II. Really nice aircraft, and came out as a really good build. If you're again interested in kind of expanding your World War II fighters, this here is an excellent aircraft to add to that collection. Next aircraft we have is going to be actually in our Soviet Union line, and we have the Tu-2. Pretty cool medium bomber here, done in a really nice green and kind of tan and black color scheme, and have that nice iconic blue underbelly. Really nice looking aircraft, came out really good, and again is available on the channel as a tutorial. And of course we have Germany, that's also seen some pretty cool additions. The first aircraft here being the Ju-287V1, which was a rocket, or I should say a jet-powered aircraft that was going to be designed to be a bomber. Pretty cool looking design. Again, has a really cool World War II features to it, and has the pretty interesting forward swept wings, which is something that's really not too common, especially during World War II times. But really cool aircraft, and again available as a tutorial. The next aircraft we have is the Ju-388J, basically a modified Ju-88. That is equipped with night fighting capabilities, as you can see by the extensive radar located there in the front nose of the aircraft. Overall, really cool build, and came out really good, and if you're looking for a cool German night fighter, this right here is definitely going to be the build for you. Further down the line, we have some even larger aircraft. These ones here, again, still waiting tutorials, but this first one we have here is the Ju-390C1, which was designed to be basically a cargo aircraft. I believe only a couple of these were built during the time of the war, and this one here is done up in a really cool color scheme with kind of that white kind of underbelly, and then it transitions into kind of a dark gray, light gray color scheme on top. Really cool looking aircraft, and this thing is absolutely gigantic, as you can probably see. So really cool aircraft, and hopefully we'll see this cargo aircraft appearing sometime soon on the channel. The next aircraft here, again, another really cool one, and again, I really love the colors I did for this one here. This here is the EF-132, which is more of a kind of concept aircraft really than anything. Again, designed to basically be a jet-powered bomber, and just a really cool aircraft. Again, has that really cool color scheme, very similar to that of the Ju-390. But again, that's pretty much all we have for Germany. Really cool looking builds, especially near the end here, and will be cool to eventually see these up on the channel as tutorials. With that, we'll be going ahead and moving back to Sweden. Moving into our Japanese section, we have a new aircraft also added in. This here has been the most anticipated redesign for the A6M0. Again, the kind of peak, I guess, fighter of Germany, you can say, and probably, or not Germany, sorry, Japan, and probably one of the most iconic. This here is basically a redesigned version of that aircraft, done up in the kind of traditional white color scheme that's so famous for. I'm still not sure exactly if I'm completely satisfied with this aircraft. There may be some changes to it before it does come out as a tutorial, but still a pretty cool build, and a Zero is in the works for those of you that have been excited to see one reappear in the future. And anyways, that's it for Japan. And the last country we have to talk about for our World War II aircraft, or World War I and World War II, is going to be the Saab 18 from Sweden. This here, again, designed to be kind of a medium bomber. Interesting looking aircraft, I guess, just your traditional medium bomber look with your two engines and all that. But cool aircraft, and should make a cool addition when it finally comes out on the channel as a nice addition aircraft to our Swedish line. But that right there is going to be it for our World War I, World War II section of aircraft. Let's go ahead and move into our Cold War Modern Warfare section. Moving into our Cold War Modern Warfare section, we first have our U.S. aircraft. The first one here being the Airwolf, which was a modified Bell helicopter for a military type aspect. This was for a movie or a show, and the base helicopter being a Bell aircraft is an American base helicopters. That's why it's sitting here in our Cold War Modern Warfare section, but definitely could be a helicopter you can use for your worlds as some kind of cool stealth helicopter or something of that sort, as it was designed to in its TV show. Anyways, though, that's it for the Airwolf. Let's move down our line a little bit further. Moving down the line a little bit further, we have the H-5 Dragonfly. The H-5 Dragonfly here was one of the U.S.'s first kind of entry-level helicopters in military operations. This one was mainly designed for search and rescue operations, and the color scheme here being yellow was definitely the search and rescue kind of main color that they used during that time period. Pretty interesting helicopter and kind of a cool one if you're looking for some really kind of early Cold War and really kind of, directly post World War II aircraft. This one is definitely a cool one to add to your edition or to your worlds. But that right there is going to conclude what we have for our United States. Let's go ahead and move on to Soviet Union and Russia. Moving into our Russian and Soviet line, we have the Ka-29, which is a pretty cool naval helicopter used by basically both the Soviet Union and Russia today. This is more the modernized version here, but it's pretty cool because we do have two color schemes, one with kind of like a two-tone blue digital type camouflage, and then we have the one in the back there, which is kind of an all-solid gray. But really cool helicopter, and should be a cool build when it does come out on the channel for our Soviet Union / Russian line of aircraft. And moving back to our Asian lineup here, we first have China, which has seen a new helicopter, this being the WZ-10, which is basically a kind of stealth attack helicopter. That's a newly introduced aircraft for their line, but pretty cool, and again, available as a tutorial on the channel. So pretty cool, it's all black, so cool helicopter. Then we have the Z-11W, which is kind of a utility helicopter. It does have some very simple attack capabilities, but more of like a transport and basically just a support helicopter, really. Again, this one is available as a tutorial on the channel. Really cool looking build. So we have some cool helicopters here that have been added to our Chinese aircraft. Then we have a Japanese helicopter here, and this here is going to be the SH-60J, which is basically a license-built Blackhawk UH-60. This one here is basically designed for naval operations and is very closely based off of the naval version of the Blackhawk or the Seahawk or something of that sort, I believe is what they call it, but used by the Navy, the United States Navy, and this one here is just kind of very closely based off that with a few of its own modifications and all that, but pretty cool, done up in a white color scheme and has a nice kind of gray underbelly. Really do like the way this one came out, and again, this one is our first ever Japanese helicopter, I believe. Down the line a little bit further, we have the Chinese weather balloon. This here is probably one of the more unique builds we've done on the channel in quite some time. This is available as a tutorial and is based off of the recent kind of things that have been going on with Chinese weather balloons and stuff like that flying over the United States and really just North America in general. It's kind of just a play on that and is based off of that build. So pretty cool, and up as on the video or on the channel as a tutorial. So if you're looking for some fun builds or whatever to throw in your worlds, this one here might be one to look at. But with that's it for our Asian line. Let's go ahead and move on back to our Middle East. For our Middle East lineup, we have one new build. This here is going to be from Israel, and this is the F-16I Sofa, which is basically their modified version of the F-16, and basically is their own version and what they use for, obviously, any role in F-16 would be multi-role aircraft. But that right there is going to do it for our modern and Cold War aircraft, and with that, we're going to be going ahead and moving into our BAFTA build section, which does have quite a bit for us to go over. So moving into our World War I and World War II BAFTA build section, we have the United States, which is seeing a new build. This here being the USS Marblehead Omaha class light cruiser. Overall, pretty cool build. Again, one of those very kind of interwar period cruisers that was very outdated by the time World War II outbroke, but really cool ship, and should be a fun one to add in if you're looking to kind of bolster your American World War II BAFTA builds with just some more kind of unique and more varied cruisers. But pretty cool build, and again available as a tutorial on the channel. Moving back to our World War II Germany, we have the KMS Mecklenburg, which is part of basically the H class. This is more of a World War ships type of kind of design. Obviously, World Warships does take some creative liberties and makes their own builds, but we did go ahead and build it here. And as I mentioned, this is the KMS Mecklenburg, which was going to be one of the H classes, more likely a modified H-44 or H-45 class that just supported larger and more numerous guns on it. But pretty cool. It also has this kind of cool two-tone with like a gray hull and a light gray superstructure. So really cool build. I really like the way it came out, and is definitely an impressive build to go along with our H-44 class we have here. Or is this a 45? H-44. Then right next to it we have a World War I Dreadnought, which is a pretty cool build. I really do like the way it came out. This here is the KMS Durfinger class of basically battle cruisers, if I remember correctly. I don't think these were classified as battleships, more battle cruisers, but really cool looking ship. Hopefully we'll see a tutorial for this sometime soon. And a pretty cool World War I battle cruiser that we have in our German lineup. With that though, we're going to be going ahead and now working our way back to the United Kingdom. So the United Kingdom has seen some additions, the first one here being the HMS Nemesis, which was basically a kind of steam-powered gunboat. Again, very early, not really involved in the World War I, World War II timeline, but definitely a really early build. But I think this went back to the early 1800s, if I remember correctly. But just kind of a cool, unique ship just to kind of throw in there and all that stuff. Next, we have a new nation to our BAFTA build section, and this is actually going to be World War I, World War II Canada. Now, again, this is not a combat ship here, but going along the lines of basically the Titanic, this is added into our BAFTA build section. This here is the Artemis Empress of Ireland, a pretty cool ocean liner that's obviously a little bit smaller than Titanic, but still from that time period, and supports that really cool design of ocean liners that they were rocking back in the 1910s, 1920s. But yeah, really cool looking ship. Came out really good, and those again are both available as tutorials on the channel. So moving back to the Japanese Empire, we have some new builds. The Japan seeing the most numerous additions. The first one here is going to be the IGN Matsu Nagato class. So we finally have a Nagato class on the channel, or as a tutorial, or prepared to be a tutorial on the channel. But really cool looking ship. Obviously with the Japanese battleships, they're really tall pagoda masts, or pagoda style conning tower, and just really cool, lots of good detail on these ships. The next one we have here is going to be a heavy cruiser, and this here is IJN Ibuki, part of the Ibuki class of heavy cruisers. Really cool design here. This is again Japanese, moving more toward putting all their guns on the front of the ships and having basically seaplane support. As the carriers continue to suffer losses, they start to have more and more of these heavy cruisers playing that important role of reconnaissance, and the Ibuki here was kind of a staple of that, with a lot of planes on the back of the ship and all of its main batteries located in the front, which made for a really interesting design. But it's a really cool heavy cruiser we'll see very soon here on the channel. Next ship we have here is the IGN Key, part of the Key class. If I remember correctly, this was a class that didn't get made, but was more of a proposed class. I think this is more like a World of Warships, again, kind of designed by them. But again, a really cool looking ship here. Supports the same traditional styles of the Japanese ships, and just a really cool looking battleship that, again, we'll hopefully see as a tutorial pretty soon. Then the next ship over here is going to be a modified cruiser, if I remember correctly, but this here is designed to be a repair ship, and this here is the IGN. We do have a newer ship, and this here is going to be the IGN Akashi, which was a modified cruiser that was refitted to be more of a repair ship type of vessel. So pretty cool ship, and again, not your typical warship of a ton of guns and all that stuff, but basically the ship that would help repair the ones that would be damaged out in battle. But cool ship, and again, it's kind of nice to see these little difference of ships, and not just seeing the main, battleships, but seeing these, smaller auxiliary ships that served a very important purpose throughout the war. And obviously, IGN Akashi here being one of those ships. But yeah, that right there is it for that. And I think there is one more Japanese ship we have to take a look at. Let me go and find that real quick. So the other ship I almost forgot was this really cool one. This is the IGN Tenru, part of the Tenru class of light cruisers. This here, again, a kind of interwar period design supporting a lot of the design concepts and stuff from World War One, and by the outbreak of World War II was very outdated. The ship itself, I don't believe, saw too much combat, and its class itself was, again, just fairly outdated by the outbreak of World War II. But cool build nonetheless, and kind of a really nice, again, supporting light cruiser to add to your Japanese fleets. The last country we have to look at here is going to be the Soviet Union. Soviet Union, again, seeing some new destroyers. The first one here being the Stromeli, part of the Gnevli class of basically destroyers. Pretty cool looking ship here, done up in this kind of darker color scheme, which I thought was pretty cool, and just kind of stands out being its own little thing. But a nice little destroyer to add to our Soviet fleet, which is really kind of grown. It's definitely grown up a lot from what it used to be, and is quite a little pretty good combative force. Then right next to it, we have another new ship. It has not appeared as a tutorial yet on the channel, but definitely coming soon. This here is going to be the Minsk, part of the Leningrad class of destroyer. Again, kind of cool looking ship, supporting kind of your traditional destroyer roles here, and really that's about it. I believe this was one of the more modernized destroyers that the Soviet Union fielded during the time of the war, but really cool looking ship, and should be making an appearance on the channel hopefully pretty soon. And that right there is going to conclude our World War I and World War II ships. Let's go ahead and move on to our Modern Warfare. So we have quite a bit of new ships added to our United States section. The first one here being the USS Tripoli, part of the Iwo Jima class of amphibious assault ships. This here was kind of one of the first designs really fielded by the United States. It's kind of a sole amphibious assault purposed ship. Really just kind of filling that role, and kind of basically paved the way for the later Wasp class and all that stuff that later came from these designs. But pretty cool build, again available on the channel as a tutorial. Next to it we have the USS Long Beach, which was kind of her own ship of her class, one of the experimental nuclear cruisers that the Navy was working on, trying to basically test nuclear powered cruisers. Obviously they found them not to really be as efficient and as important to push as the nuclear powered carriers, so the project was obviously scrapped, and we still use traditional fueled cruisers currently. But yeah, pretty cool looking ship, and kind of known for its being iconic due to its really weird boxy conning tower it has. But yeah, really cool ship, again available as a tutorial. Next ship here is not available as a tutorial yet, but we'll hopefully see a tutorial sometime soon. This is going to be the USS Saipan, part of the Tarawa class of, again, amphibious assault ships. Definitely you can kind of see a little bit of a theme going on here. But yeah, an amphibious assault ship. This one here was the kind of dad to the Wasp class, or the predecessor, I guess you could say, and the son of the Tripoli. So cool ship, and you can start to see the more kind of modern designs taking place that you see definitely present in the Wasp. But this is, again, not available as a tutorial yet, but it will hopefully be coming soon. The next ship we have here is basically a Wasp, but this is the USS America, part of the America class, which was a I would say more of a variant of the Wasp class than anything, but it is kind of considered its own category. And this here basically removed the wet deck and replaced it with more kind of storage for aviation. So this is a more aviation influenced design, rather than being kind of an aviation and sea kind of based attack type of ship. So kind of a cool subcategory of the Wasp, and again, hopefully we'll see a tutorial for this sometime soon in the future. That's it for the United States. Let's go ahead and move on back to Japan. Moving to our Japanese section, we have a new Japanese build added in. This here is the IJN Kirishima, which is a Congo class destroyer. This here is basically the Arleigh Burke of Japanese destroyers. It looks very close and reminiscent to that of the Arleigh Burke, obviously being a little bit different and having its own little spin to it. But a really cool looking ship, and a really nice one to add to the Japanese Navy, as it's kind of their main destroyer, like that of the Arleigh Burke is for the United States. But really cool ship to add, and again, kind of ever expanding our Japanese fleet, which is definitely really grown up compared to what it used to be. And the very last country we're going to be talking about is the Soviet Union / Russia, and this here is going to be the Akula class nuclear submarine. So again, a really cool submarine to add to our section here for the Soviet Union / Russia. Obviously, submarines were a big part of their naval doctrine, and the Akula class here is definitely one of those. This is a submarine, that is still actually in service today. So you can definitely build this and add this to your modern fleets and all that stuff. But really cool looking submarine, and just a cool one to add to our ever-growing fleet of Soviet and Russian warships. Well guys, that right there is going to conclude Model World Update 1.1. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and I'd love to hear what you guys think is the best vehicle that's been added, and what you guys are looking forward to most coming out of as a tutorial. If it isn't, or if it already is a tutorial, then definitely let me know what's your favorite or what you really like. Obviously not a whole lot done. I did kind of take my breaks during that time where I was kind of gone for quite a while, and my goal was to be posting these updates every 3 months, and I'm going to try to get back to that pretty quickly. And hopefully the next update will have a lot more done, just kind of a lot more organized in the world, and just everything kind of looking a lot better and all that stuff. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what we have in the world in the future. But as for right now, that's what we have here for this update. Again, the download for that is going to be down in the video description. Feel free to download it and take a gander at it yourself and tour it. Just a quick reminder that if you do end up using any of these designs on your world, even if it's not a tutorial, I do actually give me credit for the designs, as they are my builds. This could be anything done with the sign of the build, tweet to my channel, or this video if this is on social media sites. Hope you guys do enjoy the world, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time in my next video. With that, thank you guys again so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This has been Gary204, and I'll see you guys next time.